What's going on, everybody? How's it hanging? How's it happening? You guys know what it is. This is Kevin from the Chord Progression Podcast. Pretend Mr. T rocks or rock and middle thrive. It's another special Wednesday episode of the podcast as it is March 3rd. And the reason why this one is special is because this band has a brand new album coming out on Friday, March 5th. And you guys really need to get ready for this one because I'm already considering this for album of the year. Yes, I am. It is that incredible, and I got to talk all about it with two of the guys in the band. So, all the way from Switzerland. Yes, I messed this up the first time when we do the intro of the podcast. You'll see that. But all the way from Switzerland, you're going to get to hear from the band Dreamshade. Yes, you're going to hear from Gian and Fry. And I'll go all into their album, A Pale Blue Dot, which comes out on March 5th. And you're going to get to see why this album is absolutely incredible. And also, with us, have some fun along the way. So, are you guys ready? Because you should be. So, let's go. Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of the Chord Progression Podcast, our guys over at Amsplitter, man, they keep sending us all this good stuff. And this one took me by surprise completely. This band has a brand new album called A Pale Blue Dot coming out on March 5th of 2021. And I'm here to talk with the guys all about it. And I'm not going to mince words right now. This is an early candidate for Album of the Year on my end. So please welcome from the band Dreamshade, Gian and Fry. So guys, welcome to the Chord Progression Podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having us. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure.
How's everything going over in Sweden during this crazy time of the world?
In Switzerland, actually, it's quite close to Sweden if you talk from the US side. But yeah, it's in the middle of Europe. And what's happening here? The same ugly shit in the rest of the world, unfortunately. With the COVID, everything is stopped and we are close, safe. So, luckily on our place. But yeah, we are so happy to share the record with all the world. And at the end, we are fine. We are so happy. This is a very special moment for us because it's a long time that we are waiting to release this album. The COVID situation didn't help, but we are very, very happy about the result. We are quite excited, I got to say.
Wait a minute, I already got to ask this question because if I mess this up already, I'm sorry, but I usually mess up at least once or twice. Is it Switzerland that you guys are from or Sweden? Because otherwise then I'm going to look like a total fool that I messed this up.
No, okay. It's Switzerland. I mean, the band is from Switzerland. And especially Fry, he's from Milan, from Italy, not so far from here, close to the border.
Yeah, it's pretty close. Yeah.
So the band is we are a Swiss band. Yeah.
Okay, so if anyone wants to make fun of me of that in the comments on this video or the podcast audio stream, please go for it because I definitely messed that one up really, really badly. I am very sorry for you guys. I'm usually incredible with geography, but lately just with all the podcasts I've been doing, there's some things I'm just like missing a little bit on, and that just seems to be the one thing. So I am very sorry about that.
Kevin, no worries at all. It's not the first time that happens, and especially with friends from US. I don't know why. Maybe because the pronunciation. I don't know of the countries, but yeah, no worries at all. Really.
Oh no, now I feel bad. So I've got to look through my email right now and just be like, okay, where's the press release for this so I can actually see if I got it wrong or if for some reason the press release had it wrong. If I got it wrong, I'm going to be really bad. Okay, because I'm looking at the press release right now. It said Swedish modern metal rock band. So, okay, now I'm not feeling as bad.
Okay.
A little bit more of a relaxed on that point. But before we get started, guys, one thing I always like to do to start out this podcast is to have you guys introduce yourselves to the audience as well so they get to know a little bit more about you. So I always ask 3 questions. The first 2, of course, are the easiest ones. The last one is my favorite. So the first 2 questions I want to know is, what are your names and what do you do in the band Dreamshade? And the third is my favorite. I want to know like a wacky fact or a wacky story that you have by yourself, the craziest thing you can think of to share, because I would like to hear what people come up with. I've heard of people talking about different like pets that they've had become famous on Instagram and Twitter. I've heard people tell me stories about how they knocked out a member of the band and took him to a beach and almost tried to bury him alive just for the fun of it. So if you guys got any crazy stories you want to share or crazy facts you want to share, go for it. I'll let you guys take it away.
Okay, nice. I'm John, bass player and keyboard player and samples programmer in Dreamshade. Sometimes I do backing vocals, but I sing like shit, so it's not my main job. Luckily for my bandmates. Crazy stuff. I don't know. You mean about myself or about the band in general?
About yourself.
About myself, I'm spending all this lockdown situation cooking as not as a master chef, as a shitty chef, but I'm becoming a pizza maker. Yeah, that's probably my next job will be doing pizza for all my friends. There's nothing that I can imagine to do with more fun than be a pizza maker. Yeah.
Do you have an actual pizza oven, or is it just a normal conventional oven that you're cooking?
No, that's the problem. You got a point, my friend. I got a regular oven, and it's a limit. It's a very hard limit. My plan is to buy the right oven to increase my pizza quality. Yeah, good point.
All of a sudden, pretty soon, you know what's going to end up happening is once live shows return, you guys are able to get back out on the road, play live shows. You're going to end up going around and reviewing everybody's pizza that you eat. Just be like, okay, I can make better than him. I can make better than him. Okay, this is actually really good. I'm not sure if I can top this one.
Right.
Alrighty, Fry, your turn.
So, yes, my name is Fry, Francesco Ferrini. I play drums in Dreamshade. And I don't know about crazy stuff. I was thinking, I'm not sure. Maybe one of the craziest thing I decided to do was actually touring. I'm from Italy, but touring US with this band years ago. And we stayed in a 9-passenger van for almost 30 days, we did 28 show in 30 days. And it was winter time, it was like in November, and we toured also in the north part of US. And I remember it was freaking cold. It was like we have Celsius here, so it was like minus 25. It's probably I don't know in Fahrenheit how cold is that, 20, but it was cold.
I'm trying to think. Minus 25 Celsius would be around. I know here's my brain trying to wrap around the conversion, because minus 25 Celsius would probably be around in Fahrenheit, probably close to 0 degrees Fahrenheit. Honestly,
probably yeah. I mean, it was freezing for me, and we slept inside the van for every night. So we didn't have hotels, and we didn't book any. That was one of the craziest thing I decided to do. To accept to to do this tour back in that was 2012, I remember. But yeah, it was freezing. So,
okay, then I have to ask this question, because when you said you toured in the northern part of the United States during that time, especially because that's where I am from as well, I have to ask, what band did you tour with? Because I want to know if I end up seeing you guys live or not.
Okay, I don't. Maybe I mean it was a hard rock band called Rockchild. They don't play anymore, but yeah, that time we were touring Rockchild. That was the name. Mm-hmm.
Okay, then that definitely is someone that I did not get a chance to see live, unfortunately. Oh, that'd be kind of funny though to see you play live before 8 years ago, 9 years ago, before even knowing that I'd have you on the podcast today. So had to ask. I couldn't help myself.
Yeah.
But one thing that was interesting was when you said you're from Italy, you said you're from Milan as well, from earlier in the conversation that we've had. And one thing that I noticed in 2020, one thing that I found out from doing all this stuff was how great of a heavier music scene that Italy actually is, especially further in the north, because I got to talk with some Italian metalcore bands, got in with them as well, just really got to enjoy their sound. So when it comes to starting out 2021 with new music coming from that part of the world, I mean, I'm not going to lie, after hearing A Pale Blue Dot, you guys started out incredibly well. I'm not sure if it's going to be able to be topped at this point.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good bands here as well, especially in the north, like you said, in the North Italy. There's one band that I personally know, the Destrage. It's another band from the city where I'm from, and they are pretty big. Yeah, I mean, there's tons of other heavy hitters, drummers, and metal.
And it's all good stuff too, and it's just there's a lot of times where people don't necessarily think, especially over here in the U.S., don't think that scene's going to be very powerful, because when you're thinking over in the U.S., thinking the heavier scene, everyone's thinking more in the northern part of Europe. So you're thinking something like the Scandinavian countries. You're thinking like Norwegian death metal, something like some Swedish stuff. You're thinking metalcore like Architects and Bringing the Horizon over from the UK. Or you're thinking of any kind of German heavy metal, because I mean the Germans go hard from what we've seen. No one really thinks about like anything more in like central or southern,
like in the south. Yes, yeah. I don't know, for some reason. Yeah,
but there's some really good stuff, and I just love to just tell people about it and just see them amazed when I play it for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
So it's good
we are
stuff.
quite in the middle, actually. So it's quite inspiring, in fact, because when we tour Europe, for instance, it's quite fun that when we pass through Italy, we really felt that the scene is a little bit different compared to the north, but the quality is very high, even, and for us it's special, in fact, because we feel closer to our home place, so we feel very close to the Italian scene. If I may suggest you a band of friends of ours that's unfortunately disbanded just a couple of weeks ago, I would say A New Rage. Maybe you will check it. It's a band of friends of ours that's unfortunately disbanded, but they were quite good. Not so big, not so famous, but the quality was very, very good. And it's plenty of, in fact, Italy and especially the north of Italy, of band like this. So yeah.
I will definitely check them out as well. But of course, the point is to get people to check out Dreamshade and get them to check out A Pale Blue Dot as well. Again, that album coming out on March 5th. Got to plug that once again to make sure no one forgets about that. So when it comes to this album as well, because again, I told you, I listened to it. I went through a full review. I'm looking at the review right now. Again, in a Microsoft Word document. It's 23 pages long. I went super deep into this. And when I was taking a look at some of the beginnings of it, the fact that you guys wrote this during lockdown during the COVID pandemic, especially in 2020, like a lot of people, a lot of artists, especially in the scene, really were focused on writing things, because what else are you gonna be able to do during that point? You can't tour, you can't really go out and do anything else. So why not write? So when it came down to writing this one, especially in more of that pandemic setting, maybe in the lockdown setting, separated from everybody else, what was that like?
In fact, was very strange, was very weird, because not because of the recording process, because we were quite used to work by ourselves in our personal home studios. If I think about me with the bass and keyboards, or Luca and Fella, the guitar players, we all are used to record by ourselves. But the point is because we were that kind of band who rehearse like 3 times a week, in fact, in general, and stay so long without meeting each other. And without playing the songs we were writing it and recording and producing together, was very, very, very weird. And the other point was Francesco, was Fry, that was from the other side, to the other side of the border in Italy, and for different months the border were closed. So we got to wait along to meet each other, and he records his part in Italy, but not the whole band can join him during the recording. So we had some weird moment, but at the end it works. The other crazy stuff was mixing the album, in fact, because we were planning to go to Denmark to meet Jacob Benson, our mixing engineer, the famous one, the great one, great friend, and a very, very unique record producers. We would love to go there, but was impossible. So we mixed through Zoom and Skype with some special stuff to hear the audio without quality loss and delays. But was very, very hard and fatiguous, because staying connected to Zoom for maybe 8 hours a day and listen and talk, and sometimes the connection get lost, so was very hard for everybody, but it works. We are very happy with the sounds too of the album. He did a very excellent job, like always. So it was quite hard, but for us works. But we can wait to hit the road once again. I mean, the point is, the funniest thing for us in the world is touring and now it's too long that we are not on the road. So yeah, the album is very good for us. We are so happy, but we can't wait to share it live with the people. That's the point. Yeah.
And when it comes down to really creating this album, especially during the pandemic as well, because with a lot of production, especially a lot of the programming that need to be done on something like this, not being able to connect with your producer and connect with the mixer as well to really, hone in on this directly and do a lot of it over Skype or Zoom. That's going to be a huge challenge as well to make sure that everything comes out very, very pristine, very well done with a lot of quality, very perfect in the way that it did. So that's a huge challenge to undertake as well. But just a preface before we really jump into the album, I got to say, you guys did an incredible job on this one. Like it was absolutely incredible listening to the whole entire thing.
Mm-hmm. Oh, thanks. No, it's a pleasure. Yeah, but you know what? We were quite lucky because we were used to work not like this, but quite close in the past too for the previous album, because we were used to record and produce everything by ourselves from the beginning almost till the end. When we give the whole package, the files of the album to be mixed to the engineer, in this case Jacob one more time, everything is already or quite close to the to the end, to what we would love to hear. And we spend a lot of time talking to each other in the band about the sound, about all the details we want to reach and hear in the album. And so we went to Jacob with with an incredible list of things to do, of details of keeping in mind, and a very precise pre-production of the album as a reference. That's a thing that many engineers are scared of, because they don't feel so free to work with the material when the bands came with too much details. But Jacob is so used to working that way, and he is so good to find the right space and a lot of creativity that fits our needs. And this is something very special that I never met before in the past, just working with Jacob Benson. And because we already did one album with him and a couple of singles, we were already knowing each other. So that's why it works even in the pandemic situation.
So really, when it comes down to it, it seems like you've definitely found the perfect person to work with when it comes to producing and mixing your songs, just to make sure that everything sticks out as well as possible. And I gotta go to Fry on this one, just because I'm very curious. What was it like, especially being in a different country, even though you were so close to them anyway, just being on the other side of the border, really working and trying to record this stuff and also contribute to the band the best way that you possibly could? Again, just being one country over.
Right. Yeah. My situation is kind of like how do you say, like singular, like particular, because I'm in another country. Like I'm, of course, I live in Italy, and the band is in Switzerland. But it's very close. I'm very close to the border. It's like a 50 minutes drive, so it's not far at all. So we speak the same language as well. Like it's Italian at the end, even though it's a different country. So that helps a lot to feel like the same, even though we are again in two different countries. But this year was because of this situation, of course, it was very tough, because just for example, crossing the border, you needed to have like a work permit, or like just a sort of how do you say, like a contract or something. It was not possible to cross the border every day like I used to do before, just because of the COVID. So it was hard, yes, because I had to basically learn the parts and record everything, but I did it here in Milano, in my city. And then we worked same like John said before, just using Zoom, Skype, and calling. But yeah, not seeing each other, it was very tough because we were used to like leave almost like 24 hours, like together 24 hours a day, every day touring. In 2019, we went to Asia and we went to Bulgaria. We went to like the same Switzerland. We did other shows. So coming from that, and then it's like, no, you're not gonna see them like probably like in the next 8 months. It was tough.
And that's even the next 8 months kind of turned into, well, I mean, right now is the fact that it seems like things are starting to get a little bit better in the fact that we have the vaccine out there now, but still, it's still tough to try and get out and do some of these things, go some of these places, and really get back to living life the way we had been before the whole entire shutdown happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right now it's a bit better than the autumn, for instance, like September and October was really, really tough here. But yeah, still, I cannot drive over Switzerland right now. So if I want to rehearse, I just got to do it by myself. And if I want to practice the songs, I got to do it by myself. So yeah, we're still waiting for the day that they will allow us to basically reunite and do a rehearsal
and play the album we produced.
Yeah, exactly. We're waiting for that day, so it's like not yet.
But one thing that I do have to say about that is, Fry, when it comes to you, of course, being in another country and not able to go and see them right now and practice with them or rehearse with them, one big thing is you are still consistently doing it on your own, so that when the time comes, you guys are able to get back together and rehearse. It's going to be something where everyone knows the album, everyone knows what they're doing, everyone knows how to play it, everyone has every little nuance stuck in their head, so that when you guys get together, start rehearsing, you're able to go and play live shows. It's going to be something where you're going to have brand new music to show people, and there's going to be no real misconnection when it comes to your performance style between all the members of the band.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, you got to be ready for that day, basically, that you're going to be there in the same room again and play with them. But the other thing is that in general, what do you do in my case as a drummer, you always practice by yourself anyway. So that really helps, just having a situation where you do not have a lot of rehearsal time is still good, because you have a lot of time just to perfect and just to focus on your own part. And I've been having a lot of that time, of course, during this period, because it's been a long period. But yeah, I'm getting ready for that day, and as soon as we will be able to get together again, we will be ready to rock again.
Trust me, I'm waiting for that day as well, where all of a sudden all these bands that have been further away from each other are able to get back together, start rehearsing, start playing live shows, crowd's able to get back in there, and then you guys are going crazy up on stage while the crowd is going absolutely nuts, and I end up getting hurt in a mosh pit like I do almost every single time. Don't worry, totally worth it, by the way. I still miss that so much, though.
Yeah, live shows, yeah.
No, yeah. I mean, hopefully we're able to get them back, because I know, especially over here in the U.S. still at the moment, when it comes to some of the, like the summer music festivals that were planned for 2020, but then of course got pushed back to 2021. At the moment, most of them are still planning on going on right now. So that's a positive, but it all depends upon how the situation with the vaccine rollout is going to be.
Right. Yeah, because I heard some shows, maybe are they playing like some super small shows right now in US? Are they doing it?
Yeah, I've talked to a good number of bands on the podcast that have been playing shows throughout the whole entire pandemic. However, it's just they are very small. There's not a lot of people showing up at them. Okay. I have gone to 2 since everything had happened. The first one had maybe 150 people there. The second one I went to had about 50. So there's not that many, and it's mostly everybody is spaced out. So it is a definite weird feel, except for the first one, though. Once the band went on stage, I wanted to go see. They started, and a mosh pit started forming. I told myself, I wonder how long it's going to take for me to, withstand jumping in there. I think I lasted all but half a second.
Yeah. But here, more or less, the situation is the same. And before Christmas, for instance, we had the possibility to play shows, but just with 30 people, sit down. So it was quite for rock and roll, for metal music, was very weird. In fact,
that's really weird. Yeah.
And every week the limits of the people in the audience change. Now I don't know, in February was 0. In fact, no audience allowed. So that's the situation. But yeah, we also hope with the vaccines to have maybe some festivals, some shows this summer. Would be very lovely, especially because in Switzerland there's a great tradition of festivals. I don't know why, it's a small country, but it's really full of festivals, not just metal music. I mean, every genres. And the past summer for Swiss guys, as a Swiss guys, was very, very strange without festival all around, and music in open air music, etc. So yeah. We hope in a better situation for this summer.
I'll say, don't worry, Gian. The same thing happened over here in the U.S., especially with me, because it was super weird not being able to go to all these festivals, go to all these concerts, and just basically just stick within my own little area right over here. I didn't really get to travel or anything. It just did not feel right. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
But then even with a Pale Blue Dot as well with the album, I looked into a little bit more of it, taking a look at like how with the press release that was put out there regarding to the theme behind the album, why it was called a Pale Blue Dot, based off of the book Pale Blue Dot by Carl Sagan, which came out in 1994, based off that famous picture of the universe where you have this like really tiny pale blue dot. That was all it showed in the black, and that's Earth in comparison to the rest of the universe. So it just showed how small and kind of insignificant we were in the whole grand scheme of things. And especially kind of taking that mindset and taking that idea and really focusing the meaning of the music behind it, really formulating the programming behind that as well. It really did work out well, especially given the fact that we're going through a pandemic. So the perception of how so many different ideas and so many different things and concerns that we have in the world, how they all seem so insignificant because there's so much more out there, where the most trivial thing that could be affecting us for our whole entire life could really be super insignificant.
Exactly. You took the point. That's the point. It's perfect. Your description of the concept of the album is exactly this one. I don't know. That's funny, actually. I don't know. I don't remember. Maybe Fry, you can help me. I don't remember the exact moment where we came to the A Pale Blue Dot concept.
I remember.
Because was not the very beginning of the writing process. Was in the middle, but I don't remember exactly when.
Yeah, I remember Fella came up with that idea. I remember he was talking about it. I know that Fella, the guitar player, he always has been a really big fan of Carl Sagan, and he read the book, I believe I remember, and he came up with the idea. He explained to us the concept that he was thinking of, and we were super excited. We felt that it really it adapted to the album, like to the concept that we wanted to give to the album, of course. Just the fact that it's, as we see the Earth from another, like from the space, as a little pale blue dot. So the book of Sagan was just a perfect, how do you say, like how to explain basically what we were thinking of. And so it was the right fit, basically. He just we were super excited when he came out with the idea of giving that name to the album.
Because even if you think about it in a way, if you take a look at the picture itself with the pale blue dot based on the book as well, you take a look at it and you're thinking about, think about the pandemic that we're in right now. Think about how it's affecting all of Earth. And you take a look at that picture and it's only affecting that little tiny speck of that whole entire picture. Mm-hmm. It's like if you have a picture that's, a couple million pixels, it's affecting 1 pixel. That's it.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
so
crazy. Yeah.
so it makes that seem less significant. But then if you put it on a smaller scale as well, where if you just take a look at the world in general, yes, we're all dealing with the pandemic at the same point as well. But then all the different things that we were worrying about, a lot of different things that we were, freaked out about in terms of maybe some relationships that we had with other people, maybe how we saw the world, maybe how our perception was in terms of, you never know, politics, religion, whatever it might be, how in the grand scheme of things, that is even more insignificant to preventing us from actually achieving what we want to achieve in life and potentially just be the best people that we can be and the happiest people that we can be. So it really puts into perspective how a massive event can make so many other events in your life that have seemed massive seem so insignificant and seem like they really weren't that impactful at all. But then you can also see how this worldwide event is super insignificant in the grand scheme of the universe.
Also, yeah. You're right. Definitely, this is the right interpretation of everything, I think.
Yay! I got it right again.
But another personal things for me it's absolutely connected to the whole speech, the whole concept, is because as a band, of course, we love to travel, to tour the world, and we are not a band. We never talk about politics. We are not a politicized band, not at all. We neither talk about politics to one to each other in the band, but we know for sure that we totally are against racism and all this kind of bullshit that divides people. We really love and enjoy to travel all over the world, to meet new people, to get in contact with all the cultures that we have. That's very precious for us. It's just one world, and in this perspective, from the pale blue dot, far from the universe, seeing this pixel, as you said, it makes more and more sense in fact that we are unique, but we are all the same on this little planet. There's no reason to fight one against each other on this little pale blue dot. So this for me as a very special personal matters.
I think that's one incredible interpretation to put to it again as well, just because, like we said, there's so many things there's so many issues that are going on in the world right now, but when you look at the grand scheme of things, we're just that little pale blue dot in that picture. That's it. We're not anything more than that in the grand scheme of the universe. So
exactly. This is our place. It's the only place we have, and this is for all of us. I mean, without any kind of difference. Yeah, between people. I mean.
Yeah, and when it came to the whole entire album as well, really listening to it, just the dedication to that theme overall throughout every single song that was on there was, when I went through it, was one of the key points that I put in my section of the album, because when it came to the overall theme, taking a look at the grand scheme of things that, are probably rather insignificant in the overall larger picture of the universe, really bringing that forward through the music really worked out well, because in my opinion, the words that were spoken in the lyrics were honestly less of the thing that really caught my ear, but instead it was how the instrumentation was constructed, and especially how all the programming that was electronic influences really made this whole entire feel stand out, because those electronic influences gave more of this kind of like space cosmic feel to it, very similar to what Pale Blue Dot is. However, it made a connection to that overall grand scheme of things, wherever you were trying to go from maybe a single town to looking at the overall country, where that single town is an insignificant problem, or that country against the world against the grand scheme of the universe, like how insignificant comes, because there's always going to be something that's bigger and larger outside of that.
Yeah, totally agree.
And honestly, when it came down to all the electronic programming that you guys had on this album, one thing I have to say is normally when it comes to listening to music, when it comes to listening to any kind of, because I always listen to rock, hard rock, punk rock, metalcore, really got into metalcore as well. One thing I really enjoy is, especially when everyone has this like raw, visceral sound to it, where it's very bare bones, it's very much more in your face. I'm not the biggest fan always of the heavy electronic, heavy produced side of things, just because I don't connect with it as well. However, when it came to A Pale Blue Dot by Dreamshade, wanted to just put the name of the band in there as well for everyone that, for some reason, if you guys forgot, you're not going to forget again. This was something that really stuck out to me as a major positive and something that I absolutely love, because you guys always had that like cosmic like futuristic space kind of feel to the electronic program that you had in here. However, none of it was ever the same. Everything was tweaked just differently, just to give each song its own identity. But that slight tweak when it came to the overall meaning of those songs, that slight tweak in the electronic base of it, it just made that message and made that powerful just style just come out even more. This was something that just blew me away completely. This was amazing.
Wow. Thank you. I got to thank you, to say thank you to you, because yeah, in fact, I spent with Luca, and especially me, I spent tons of hours, weeks, probably months, I would say, on programming the album and playing keyboards. In fact, it really amused me that you say that each song has a different kind of colors thanks to the synth. Because in fact I try to spend time on not on plugins but on real keyboards. In fact, I don't have a stock of keyboards. I got just 3 with me, but I spend many times on building the sounds from scratch. Most of the time are common sound. I mean, it's nothing very there's not a big invention, but yeah, I try to work on that sound and find something particular in a certain way, or the right fits for the song. That's what the aim. And of course we use some massive plugins in the background that help us, but the top of the programming stuff has been played and not programmed, in fact. So sometimes there are something that is not very precise, is not very tight, because it's made by my ugly hands. And I'm not a keyboard player. I just studied a little piano when I was at school, but as a second instrument. But yeah, I try to keep also this kind of dirtiness and the not precision of the sound of my keyboard. I got a plastic keyboard from the 90s, a Roland JD800 that I loved a lot. And the sound, and then there are some noise inside of it. It's not precise, it's not perfect, but that's what I like it. And I try to keep all this kind of stuff in the album. It's not in the top. I mean, I think that Dreamshade right now are not a very heavy program band. There are a lot of stuff in the background, but this in the background we try to be as much rock as possible, guitar driven and drum and bass band. But there are some details in the background that are quite important, and I'm so happy that you catch it. So thank you.
Yeah, and one thing when it comes to that as well is we're talking about more of that electronic bass being more in the background. On this one, I thought that you guys kind of match it up rather well with the same level as the just normal guitar-driven instrumentation was. However, on a lot of times with these songs, it just made a lot of sense to go with that route, just to really go down that path and really focus in on that sound, because again, just with the overall concept behind the album, bringing it a little bit more in the forefront, really just let that grander scheme feel, just that, there's so much more out there that our problem seems so insignificant. And when you look at that in a way, and it just allows you to really kind of take a look into yourself, take a look to see how those problems are affecting you. And if in the grand scheme of things, should you be putting that much, put that much effort and put that much worrisome into those issues?
Fry, you want to say something?
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah. When you talk about the electronic stuff, that's Gian and Luca. I just I take care of drums. That's it.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a very deep thing what you said, Kevin. So it's definitely it's I totally agree. I don't know what to add to that, because it makes sense. I mean, yeah, and that's yeah.
I'll add this to it though. Even when you take a look at that electronic station, for everyone listening, 3 songs that I think you should listen to really just understand this is take a listen to Lightbringers, because when it comes to like the I would say like the median sound, like that middle sound with the electronic instrumentation, where if it's going to be a little bit higher pitch, a little bit lower pitch, a little bit like a little more distortion to it, whatever it might be. This one had that style where it was really what you would expect. Then you go to a song like Elephant, which when you listen to it, it had this like Asian inspiration infusion that was put in the guitar, and then when the drums came with more of that heavy hitting style from you, Fry, the tone overall was just still there. And I absolutely love this right from the outset, because you're getting something incredibly unique with that sound, the song right from the beginning. And on the album, this wasn't like anything I'd heard yet. And I think Elephant was song number 9 on the run through overall. I think so. But it fit in so with the overall tone of the album so far. And that's where you're going to get that different electronic feel. However, it's just going to add so much more to it. Then a song like Nothing But the Truth. That's the third one you guys should listen to if you're looking at something like this. That sonic electronic sound, it had this darker and overall deeper vibe to it. But it connects the theme of living the life in a lie and living in a fake environment and not really feeling the truth that's going on in the world. So just the difference within these sounds, like those three show heavier contrast between the three, but everything kind of really fits within there, but nothing is the exact same. Everything has a little bit of a different distortion, a little bit of a different tone to it, but it all works out in the end. Trust me on this.
Wow, thank you. No, it's nice to know because we were reaching exactly these things. So if I think to Elephant, that was a challenge for us too. It was the first time that we tried to write something like this. And it's true that is something that is special for the album in terms of sound. And I'm quite sure that also Jacob Benson, the mixing engineer, started mixing the album from Elephant. It's on that song that we build up the mixing process and the core of the album. But at the end, what it was very great in doing that is change from song to songs and adapt the mix a little bit to the flavor of each song. And in terms of programming, I try really to, if I think to the things on the background, like the strings or choir or this kind of pad stuff that there are more or less in all songs. Elephant, I use some very complete different sounds. The parts are so similar. I mean, if we talk about pads and stuff like this, the aim is to have something in the background that stand up the old songs. But changing some little stuff there makes a difference, even if it's not on the top and you can precisely listen to that. But in the whole picture, something changed, and that really makes me happy that you feel it. Yeah.
Oh, trust me, when people listen to this album, they're definitely going to be feeling this. And if they don't, I'm just going to have to say, can you guys listen to it again and really try and feel it? Because it's all there. Everything is all there. And one other thing I like is just, I got to add this as well, where it was just the way that the guitar tones were structured at times, and with the distortion that was on them, it also created that same feel as well to sometimes when that program, that heavy electronic bass, when it was kind of pulled back a little bit more to the background and you let more of the instrumental driven style of it, just tweaking the distortions and tones on here continued to give it that overall feel of that electronic, sometimes cosmic, sometimes spacey, futuristic feel to really let us get into the overall concept of the album continually. But again, this is completely changing up the style as well with how much of that electronic bass is going to be in there. And it just added so much variety to the album. Like Shanghai Nights was one of my favorite ones where this really did it, because it kind of brought in a lighter sound as well. But then in the verses, when all of a sudden, Fry, when you're just like building up with a more metalcore bass style drumming, just how that contrast sounded just really stood out to me. I'm just thinking, there's a time when I really like this, and now there's a time when I like this again. This is absolutely amazing. Let's just keep going with this. And I'm just listening to this song like over and over again, just thinking, is this really happening? Is this really something I'm listening to? And every time, like, yep. Okay, this is awesome.
Nice. Thank you, man. Thanks. Of course, we put a lot of work into the composition of each song. And one thing I want to say is that me personally, as far as drumming, Fella and Luca, they did a great job in the writing process in helping me, because they are a great musician and great guitar players. But not only, like they can write drums, like they can write very good drums. So they basically put down, just wrote a lot of different like fills as well, like drum fill and sections, breakdowns, and then they gave me like an idea, a structure to follow, and then of course we made some adjustments to my style of playing, and then I basically had to learn the parts to record them. But yeah, I gotta say that like 80% of the drums, as far as written, it's just thanks to Fella and Luca. So they did a awesome job. And like not a lot of people know that, because they always think, there's the drummer, and then there's a guitarist, and then there's the singer. So when they listen, and they maybe they say, oh, the drum part is awesome, they think about the drummer is awesome. But like they don't think about the process is it's a long process before recording, and the writing part is very important, and they did a like very great job. Yeah.
Oh, they absolutely did. So again, credit to where credit is due for those guys.
Yeah.
But one other thing too is when they're writing that stuff as well, one thing that helps them out is if they're writing a bunch of other parts for those songs as well, they're understanding where the song is going. They're understanding how the natural progression of that is and how the drums are going to be able to amplify that as well. However, as a drummer yourself, you're able to put your input there as well to really understand the exact same point. So all of you guys are able to bounce ideas off of each other and see potentially something that's going to work. Try something a little different. Try something a little crazy where, when you think about it and really try and conceptualize it in your head or write it down on paper, it doesn't seem like it's going to work out at all until you actually try it. There are plenty of times I've talked to bands about this and said, if you think of something crazy and it doesn't work in your head, give it a shot. See if it works. Actually play it. Because if it doesn't work, then But if it works, you might have just come up with something absolutely incredible and you had no idea that you did.
Right. Yeah. Sometimes you just have to do that. Like just try it, just have an idea and just put it there. Try to see if it works after. Like maybe sometimes it doesn't work in your mind, but it works in real life and opposite. So you have to experiment for sure.
Oh yeah, and even like some of the experimentation you guys did with some of the guitar tones as well. And two songs that stick out to me again, I got to go Save This and Nothing But the Truth, because I felt like, especially with the style they went with, you guys had this inspiration from Architects in a way, just the way the guitar distortion was constructed. It reminded me a lot of the stuff they did off the Holy Hell album in 2018, which, don't get me wrong, that was one of my favorite albums of the year, so this was awesome to listen to. But how you tweaked them just a little bit to make them sound completely different was absolutely incredible. Save This, because you used that bass sound, but you gave it a higher pitch and a little bit of a lighter distortion to it. And this really gave the song its own feel of realization and epiphany, and it plays perfectly at the end of the album just to close it out, to really give this more just realization moment just by listening to that tone. Then going back to Nothing But the Truth, which I think even came right before that. Again, you use that bass sound as well, but it had this deeper sonic electronic bass to the overall tone. And this is just what I talked about earlier. This song, Nothing But the Truth, is just this whole dense, full variety track that, you guys threw a lot into this thing. And at times when you throw a lot into stuff, sometimes it just gets messy. This was definitely not the case. This was a fantastic song. So I can't wait for people to listen to that one and just start sending you guys message saying, Nothing But the Truth, how did you come up with this? Like, they're going to be asking you these questions left and right.
Wow, thanks again. I gotta be honest. You were talking about some bass synth, could be, or some programming on the low end. We don't put too much stuff on the low end, in fact, because the natural sound of the bass feed the whole place of the low end. So there's not too much stuff in terms of programming going down there. Of course, there are some sound design effects. Sometimes I put some sub bass, but just subtle in just a couple of parts in the whole album. The very effort in the low end has been made by the natural bass guitar and the drums also. And I got to be honest, Jacob Benson is a master on that, literally, because I had the precise idea of the bass sound that I wanted to have, but he took it to the next level, absolutely. And it really surprised me on how the low end is very well under control for the entire album, even or without the synths. And he makes a difference on that. But if I can share a funny story with Nothing But the Truth, it's regarding the featuring with John Harry of Darkest Hour, because Fella, he toured with them a couple of times, in fact, as a guitar player, and they become friends, of course. and we record John when Fella was touring with them in Europe. And I remember that we had to send him an audio interface to record the song in the park in a backstage in Switzerland. So we waited that the Darkest Hour with Fella came to Switzerland, and we went there to give him the audio interface to track the song just in the backstage because the Darkest Hour concert. So in a couple of minutes he did it, and then he retouched something in US when the tour was finished. But it was a very funny story, and it really explained how the whole album has been made in a very easy way. Of course, we had the pandemic stuff at the end, but the writing process and also recording the features was very, very, very easy, because we at the end, it's not a feature with a famous person, it's a feature with a friend, and that's why he worked very fine.
Well, a couple things. First is, thank you for correcting me on that when it came to the point you made with the bass as well, because when there's stuff that I bring up on the podcast, and it's just if I'm trying to analyze something, if I get something wrong, I'm always more than willing to learn and just see where other things came from. So thank you for bringing that up. And when it comes to having the feature on that one, having a feature with a friend just makes it a lot more natural, so because then you understand each other, you understand the idea that the song is going behind. You're going to end up understanding the mindset that the band has as the person that's being featured on there. So when it comes to delivering the vocals in the best way possible, you already have this, what's the best way to put it? You already have this understanding on how to do it, that if you brought in someone that was a lot more prominent in the scene, they're not going to have that understanding as well. So they might take in a little bit of a different direction that might not necessarily make it feel as natural. However, I mean, this one felt incredibly natural overall. So picking him to go with that feature was a great move on your part.
Thank you. And the other one has been made, the other features, it's thanks to Fry, in fact. Because Rose Villain, the girl who sings in Stone Cold Digital, we were fans of this girl, and we discover that Fry know him.
It's a funny story. I don't know what's the best way how to explain it, how to say it, but for some reason, like Fella, he wanted to. He really liked the artist, like Rose Villain. He, for some reason, came to know her years ago when she performed in Switzerland during a big show with another artist, like a rapper artist, a pretty famous rapper here in Italy, actually. So he always thought about, like, that girl. She's got a great voice. She's got presence, and he was a fan of her. But I never knew that. He never told me for some reason. I don't know. Like, John, did you know that before? Like, before we went to Asia? Because that's when I found out, basically, during the tour in Asia. Like, did you know that before?
No, we all were fans of Rose Villain because we are in love with Salmo, this Italian rapper.
Right.
That we are really fans of him, and we discovered Rose Villain through this guy because they did some features, and but we never talk about that. In fact,
right. So when we were in Asia, basically, we were touring. Okay, I was just in the hotel. We were in this hotel just chilling, and I was texting to her. And then Fella was just watching my phone, and at that moment he was just beside me, and I remember he was like, "Dude, are you texting to Rose Villain?" Because I saved her, like, it's Rose Villain on the cell phone, and I was like, "Yeah, she's my friend." And he was like, "What? Like, how do you, like, really? How do you know her?" And then from that point, I explained what happened. Basically, we've been friends since 2009. Like, so it's been 11 years because we did school together in Los Angeles, in California. We did the College of Music. We were in the same program, basically. I was doing the drum program. She was doing the BIT, so the vocal program. And that's where we met. And then, of course, we became friends, and we started a band together. So I was playing with her back in 10 years ago. and so and then she became like pretty famous now, like, you know, she's Rose Villain. So but they didn't know that. Actually, we never had chance to talk about it with Dreamshade, because I joined the band right before the Asian tour. It was like months before, like 3-4 months before. So it was a funny story, because it's like it all happened almost like randomly. And fella was like, wait, wait a second. And then, you know, we talked to her. Of course, that really helped, you know, being friends. But she really liked the music we were doing and the song that we were writing. So the whole process was really smooth, and she was super excited to be part of it.
And taking a look at the notes that I have with the song that she's on, and the name of the song is Stone Cold Digital for everyone that's listening. Because where Rose Villain comes in is right in the start of the closing chorus is what I remember, and it's ended up being an incredible move by putting her on there, because there's a lot of times that I've seen with rock and metal bands where when it comes to that last chorus, sometimes there's a key change to just kind of have it registered up in a higher key, just to change the overall feel of the chorus. And this one, it did the exact same effect, but however, is having the female vocal in there, having a softer style vocal in there, allowed for the message of the song just to sink into you in a completely different way with a completely different perception. I was all here for this one. I love the move on this one because it gave the song a lot more density, a lot more life to it, and a lot more relatability just by that small feature. It was really well done. So well done, Brian. Just get text her at that one point just to make sure all of a sudden have fella go,
yeah,
what?
Right. I mean, that's the I just I'm glad that I could help, because it's I agree with what you said. And then, you know, of course, like the writing process and all the recording process, that's all John and Luca and Fella, they really, you know, took care of. With Rose, of course, you know, of everything. I just, you know, I was like, hey, I'm glad I could help, just, you know, bringing the friendship on the table, and I'm glad she liked, you know, the featuring. So
she's incredible. She's incredible because it's very professional. So we received the tracks and we haven't to do nothing. I mean, everything was in place, everything was perfect. The interpretation, the sounds, the different voices. I mean, she's very unique, and I really appreciate that. I mean, if you look at her career right now, she's very close to the rap and hip hop world, but she doesn't care. I mean, she has the possibility to do a features with a metal Swiss band. She don't care. If she liked the song, she did it, and it's very. Yeah. It's very appreciable. I mean, it's very
because I know for a fact. Yeah, she always listened, and she always liked rock music as well. I remember from college, like in 2009, she always like listened to Paramore and to like Incubus and a lot of modern rock. Beside the rap and pop, you know, how to say, field. Like, you know, because she's now doing a lot of rap, and like John said, a lot of like modern rap and pop, but she always liked rock music. So it's a really cool thing that she wanted to do this featuring.
Yeah, and that's so important for us too, because we are the same. I mean, we listen to a lot of different music, from hip hop, rap. I listen to a lot of reggae music also. We really switch from completely different music styles, and this is something that we also like in other people and other musicians. You know, to be open-minded in that way.
And just going from a Rose standpoint as well, one thing I've seen, especially in 2020, was you're starting to see more of those artists that are more concentrated in the pop and hip hop and rap realm start to do a couple more features on different rock and metal tracks. I mean, take a look at Youngblood when he did the feature on Obey with Bring Me the Horizon. For someone like myself, I didn't listen to any of his music, but all of a sudden listening to how he performed, I'm like, okay, you know, is it someone that I'm going to potentially check out? Maybe. Is it someone that now I have an idea of their sound I'm more likely to check out in terms of their music? Absolutely, because it worked out with that feature as well. With Rose on this track as well, it does the exact same thing where her vocals just amplify it, even though her forte might not necessarily be in rock and metal. But for someone like myself, am I more inclined to go and find out more about her and listen to some more of her stuff? Especially after listening to that? Absolutely I am. So it's not only a smart move on her part, but also a smart move on your part as well to add her into that song and just give the song a completely different feel and add even more to the density behind the song on the back end.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you. That was the plan.
And one other thing that really stuck out to me about this album was there was a song that really just, when I listened to it, I honestly couldn't believe the move you made on it. And it was the song A Place Called Home, because it felt like you went with more of like, especially in the verse, more of this like rap rock styling at the exact same point. And I was nowhere near expecting that on this kind of an album. But when you put that in there, this was the kind of thing where I said, you have an idea, you try something, and when you think about it with the way the album is going, with the styling of the album, on paper, in your head, it might not seem like it's going to work out. But when you actually do it, this was probably my favorite song on the album, I'm not going to lie. This was something that just stuck out to me. I will even go back and find the link that I have to the album right now and still listen to it again and again, because I'm like, this thing just sticks out to me so much.
Wow, thanks. That's important and makes Fela happy, because it's Fela, the guitar player, who sings in the verse, the rap part. Because as I said, we are really fan of in general of different music styles, especially rap and hip hop, and we all grow up with different music styles, but with a band in common probably, and this band is Linkin Park. So it was not intentional with A Place We Call Home, but at the end I think that there are some subconscious connection to what we heard in Linkin Park, because for us it's very common to have a rap verse in a song. It's not the first time, but maybe with A Place Called Home, it works well than we did in the past. So it's a song I also like too a lot, especially for the lyrics. Fun. In fact,
From my standpoint, like when you guys did this, the song completely changed up the overall tone the album was going for, but it still kept that overall same feel. And I thought it was one of the best things you could have done, because the song had a brand new identity and it let the message be delivered in this more raw, but also understanding way that also sometimes could get lost in the clean vocals, but it still had the exact same feel. And when the verses were in there, the heavier tone of the rapping, it reminded me not of Linkin Park, but a band that was inspired by Linkin Park with Hollywood Undead, with their album Notes from the Underground, which came out in 2013. And that was my favorite album by them. I absolutely love it. So this move that you made on this one kind of just evoked that same feel of that album. I absolutely love it because you have the deeper feel. It had a heavier impact with the overall message behind it. Plus, the pacing on this, especially within the instrumentation and within the verses as well, was absolutely great, because they were slightly faster with the vocals and the backing instrumentals, but it was so calming in a way, but it was also so concentrated at the exact same point as well. It was this incredible mix that just, right when I heard it, after the first verse, I knew that this was going to be my favorite song on the album, and it still holds true.
Nice, thanks. Yeah, it's a special one. And it's nice to know, because as a mainly metal band, when you go so far, you never know how the people will react. But in fact, I think that in general, our fans are quite used to that. And but it's always nice to have this kind of confirmation, yeah, thanks.
But before we close out the little full-on review of A Place Called, or Pale Blue Dot, I almost said A Place Called Home. There we go. There's my second mess up of the day. Before we finish up with a Pale Blue Dot by Dreamshade, by you guys, whenever I do a whole entire review, I always put an overall at the end, just kind of summarize my feelings on it. And this is how I put it. I'm going to be reading it right off what I wrote so I don't mess this up. And when it came down to it, when I first saw the album, because I had never heard of you guys before, never heard of any of your music, I had no idea what to expect, honestly. And more of that, and with looking at like the way that the album cover was and looking at kind of the message, I thought they were going to get that, cosmic sonic feel with the electronic inspiration in there. And that was my guess. And I thought, at times that I've heard that, I haven't necessarily really been the biggest fan of it. However, I was dead wrong on any of this stuff because when I listened to the album, the dedication to the theme on this was absolutely key, and how the use of any electronic instrumentation and influence and the guitar distortions really made these songs stand apart from another while all still being connected at the exact same time. It was absolutely incredible. Plus, that rap rock sound in A Place Called Home was one of my favorite things on the album. It really stuck out. Overall, this album was one that my preconceived notions said, you might not be the biggest fan of that. But this is why I listened to him, because my preconceived notions were absolutely wrong on this one. I really love jumping into this one. And as it stands right now, this is one of my early considerations for album of the year when it comes to 2021. So watch out for this one when it comes out on March 5th, because it is incredible. You guys are going to have to listen to this one.
Thank you.
Wow, Kevin, thank you so much. Thanks to take all this time to get into the album, and yeah, thanks. It's very special for us.
This is going to be an album where people are going to listen to it, and it's going to be very easy for them to invest their time into listening to it, really understanding the message behind it, and really just letting themselves get influenced by it in a way. It's something where that electronic influence that you guys put in there with some of the programs, sometimes a little bit more programming, sometimes less programming. But then again, just the way the tones of it work to really just change the sound of these songs ever so slightly overall to make them sound completely different, but also connect at the same time as well. Everyone's going to be able to find, honestly, out of the 14 songs that are on here, my guess is at least 5 that they're going to connect with incredibly well and just like really stick in their minds. So this is something that, I'm going to make sure, like, when this album comes out, I'll make sure people know about this. So make sure my audience knows about this as much as possible, because if I'm saying this is already an album of the year consideration, and when I listened to it for the first time, when I got to listen to it back in January, like, come on. Like, that's an early call, but still, if I'm already thinking it at this point, I can't wait to see what the rest of the year has to bring, but also where this ends up landing in that top 10 list.
Wow. Thanks again.
Thanks, man. Thank you.
And say you never know. It might end up number one at the end of the day. You never know. However, this is going to be, like, when it comes to a bunch of the other albums that are coming out this year, this is going to be really hard to top, honestly. Just, again, the dedication of the craft, incredible on this front.
Wow. It would be lovely. Yeah, thank you.
And I hope that when the album does come out as well, that the reception that I was able to give you guys is the reception that your fan base gives you. And not only that, but people who do not know anything about Dreamshade at this moment listen to it and just say, I didn't know about you guys, but now you've got a fan for life. Because I'm saying that.
Wow. Very nice. Thanks.
So outside of A Pale Blue Dot and outside of that, once it comes out, I mean, what's the plan going forward as well for the album when it releases? And then, of course, I know 2021, we still have no idea when it comes to live shows, but do you guys have anything like potentially planned in the works? If you can't give specifics, I totally understand. However, it's just, I'm always curious to know if there's something else going on in the works in terms of getting back out there, playing live, performing live.
Yeah,
because I'm just missing live shows.
I just speak for myself. I really hope that we're gonna play shows as soon as possible, because I really miss them. But John knows more than me for sure. So,
I agree that, I mean, we are a live band first of all, so we miss the road and we can wait to get back to the road, of course. But we figured with this album, and especially with the 2 singles we released before, Question Everything and the other one, that we will love to keep releasing songs more regular in the future. Mm-hmm. So we are still working on new material. We are at the very beginning of it, I got to be honest. But we would like to release something more in 2021. Especially because we got an album that has her 10th birthday this year, Silent Sides. And it would be lovely to celebrate that album in a certain way. We don't know already how, but we are working on it. And we would love to release some new song with or without the COVID situation. So
and maybe tour the US. Tour the US, John. I want to go back to US.
Me too. It's a long time.
Man, because Kevin, I've been to US for many years, and I really miss it because last time I was there was 2015 maybe. So it's 2015 I believe. So I really miss it. It would be awesome to tour with Dreamshade. It would be. So yeah, hopefully in the future we'll make it.
Well, hopefully in the future it's able to happen. Well, once live shows return, because I would love to have you guys come over to the U.S., make some sort of a run throughout the country. Just because, again, I think the album is absolutely incredible. There are plenty of bands that, especially you guys talk about how you're a live band. There's gonna be plenty of bands that are looking to just add a lot more, people onto these bills as well. To the point where it's like, okay, you're gonna get a huge band. All of a sudden, you're gonna be the one opening for them. And I'm talking about like, okay, you've got, your opener band, then number 2, number 3, then the headliner. You guys probably fit in like that number 3 marker just because of how great the sound is. But when it comes down to what you said about, Gian, what you said about, continuing to release potentially even more new music in 2021 following the release of A Pale Blue Dot, I really do like that idea as well. And that all stems from how music is consumed by people these days, because everyone's streaming on different platforms. Spotify, Apple Music, usually your 2 most prominent ones. And when you consistently are releasing material, I know the way the algorithms are looking at it, when you're consistently releasing new material, that's what's going to be put on different playlists. And people are going to be paying attention to those playlists. And then your name and your song is just going to be continually popping up on these playlists that they're following, on these different things that they're following as well. So your name's going to appear in their head, and they're going to end up checking you out one way or another. So it's just kind of in a way hacking the system. But I know there's a lot of bands that are looking at doing that right now. And that's just something that it's just the way that the consumer is listening to music right now on a basic standpoint. Myself, however, I still like to download all this stuff because I like to listen to it, always have a hard copy of it in a way. And well, I don't know why. I just don't get into the streaming stuff that much. So I'm a dinosaur in that front.
No, I mean, you're not a dinosaur. We printed some vinyls because we love it. So we love to be dinosaurs too, in that way. Yeah, you're right. It's a modern way of releasing music, and the schedule in releasing is very important for the streaming platform. This is one point. We don't actually care about it too much, but we have to care about it, of course. But the point, it's more the intention of releasing new material is more to compensate the fact that we cannot join your city, your place, and our fan places. So we would love to stay in contact with you all, and releasing songs or material, or also videos or stuff is the only way we have at the moment. So it makes more sense right now than ever. So why wait too much? Why wait another entire album? We don't know, but we would like to stay more in contact with people with our songs. So yeah, why not releasing some stuff? We are working on it. Yeah.
Okay, I'm a big fan of that, where it's trying to, continue to grow as like this crazy route as possible, trying to hack all these different ways into maximize yourself on streaming platforms. That's not the core goal behind it. The big picture thing is you want to make sure you're staying connected with the fans while you can't tour. I totally understand that. I totally respect that. Also, with the fact that you said you guys printed some vinyl. Okay, I have to get my credit card out after this because this thing could use another vinyl to run on.
Man, I think that you absolutely gain and earn your personal signed vinyl by us, by all the time and effort that you put on this interview and your interview and stuff. So we will definitely send you a vinyl. You don't have to pay it at all.
Holy shit, that's awesome! Woo!
It's the minimum, man. You really earn it. Yeah, sure.
Well, I mean, thank you very much. That is absolutely incredible, because this album is, again, I'm already calling it album of the year contender for 2021, as we're into the first, only in the first quarter of the whole entire year when releases are going to come out. And this is something that's just still sticking in my head, even after listening to it. I mean, to come up with a whole entire review for it and really dive deep into it. I think I listened to this thing for like 3 or 4 days at this point. It's the longest I've ever gone into deep with an album, but it's just because there is so much substance behind this album. There's so much going on, but it all works in this one continuous flow with everything sounding different, but also connected at the exact same time. This was something that really took a lot of dedication from you guys, really took, really focusing in on your craft, really focusing on every little aspect of it. And when it's going to come out, I mean, it's all going to show, it's going to pay off. And this is potentially going to be, I mean, I'll put it this way. This is easily going to be your best album so far.
Thank you, Kevin. Thanks.
Thanks, Kevin. Thank you very much.
So looking at the time, we're kind of getting close, like the hour 15-ish mark. And I think that's a good way to kind of close up because we went so deep into A Pale Blue Dot. We really got to know all about it from you guys as well. So that when it does come out, I mean, hopefully everyone that listens, podcast fans, are going to be like, okay, we got to go pick up a copy of this right now. Or when it comes out, we got to pre-save this thing. We got to stream it as much as possible. We got to tell our friends about it. We got to tell our neighbors about it. We got to tell our mom, dad. If we got to tell our pastor about it, we got to tell the crazy guy down the street that's just sitting on the corner because he's going to listen to it as well. We got to tell everybody about this thing.
Yes, thanks. Street promotion is old school, fascinating, and the best one ever.
Oh yeah. So as we close this out, I always like to give you guys a chance to say anything you want at the end of it, whatever it might be, whatever you want to promote, whatever it is. So the option is yours. The floor is yours, guys. Whatever you want to say.
John.
I will say, first of all, thanks to Kevin. Thank you very much for your time, and to all the other people listening to us. We are a very small Swiss band, so a small band from a small country in the middle of Europe, but with a big heart. And we put a lot of this heart in this album, A Pale Blue Dot. We really love to have the possibility to share it with you. So we will also love to get back your feedback, your emotion, your sensation, positive and negative too, about this album. We hope that our music amuse you, inspire you in every way, and that's it. See you next time. See you to the next song. See you to the next album. See you hopefully on the road live as soon as possible. And in case, come to us and say hello. Hey.
All right, Fry, if you got anything you want to say, or otherwise I can just close this one out and go crazy.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for the time that you spent, like honestly, with the time that you put to listen to our work. So thank you, Kevin, and thanks for everyone listening. Yeah.
Alrighty, and now it's my turn to close this out, and I've got 5 things I want to close this out with. I hope I get all 5. So first things first, when it comes to A Pale Blue Dot, when it comes to Dreamshade, when it comes to finding them online with all their socials, finding them on YouTube, finding their website, being able to buy some of their merch, which you should, and being able to either pre-save or stream this album, whatever it might be by the time this comes out, because it comes out on March 5th. All the links for everything that you could possibly want are going to be in the description of the podcast, on the description on YouTube, Spotify, Podcast, Google Play, iHeart Radio. It's a one-stop shop. You would like just click, bing, bang, boom, call, and then, I'm making it as easy as possible for you guys. It's just going to be the convenience factor. You're not going to have to look it up. I'm going to do all the work for you. Just look at the links below to find all their stuff. All right, second thing. When A Pale Blue Dot comes out, remember, it comes out on March 5th. Please make sure, again, to go and listen to it. As this podcast, I will also be doing a review on our YouTube channel of the album as well. It'll be very similar to kind of what we talked about here, because I went through everything I like about the album, and it was a lot. So you're going to see a lot of that as well. So if you want to check that out, that'll be out pretty much the same day the podcast comes out as well. Third thing is, when they're able to tour again, please make sure you go and see them live, because hell, I want to go see these guys live. So make sure you're able to do that. Keep tabs on them so that you know when concerts return. Go check them out. Fourth thing is, when you guys come to the U.S., or I'm still hoping to be able to make it out to Europe in 2021 to hang out for a couple of weeks, bounce around a couple of different places, see as many shows as possible. If I get a chance to see you over there, or if I get a chance to see you over in the U.S., however, it's going to be a when this happens. When this happens, I would love to be able to actually meet you guys in person and talk to you guys. And whenever I enjoy doing interviews, I have this thing I like to say, and it always comes when I see you guys play live for the first time, or I get to meet you for the first time. And that's this. When it comes to this, drinks, first round's on me.
Yeah.
Okay, you say it. No worries.
That's what everyone says. It's like, okay.
And the second, the third, and the fourth, from us.
Okay, I'll take that.
Lucky man.
Yes. All right, so then Gian and Fry, I do not like to end these episodes. This is the fifth thing. I do not like to end these episodes with saying goodbye because I love this album. I want to see you guys play live. I want to see you guys continue to grow as a band. And also, again, first rounds on me, I got to make good on that promise. So in good conscience, I cannot end this with a goodbye because that seems like we're calling it a day forever, and I do not want to do that. So I will end with what I always end it with. See you later.
See you later.
Well, folks, that was my interview with Gian and Fry from the band Dreamshade. And yes, when it comes to Find a Pale Blue Dot, the album online when it comes out on March 5th. Again, take a look at the description of the podcast. I'm going to have all the information where you need to find the band on their socials, find them on the website, find their merch, and also stream their music as well, because I want you guys to listen to this album. This thing is transcendently fantastic. The electronic instrumentation that they use in this is incredible. It's indescribably beautiful, honestly. And I think I did a good job on the podcast with it as well. So please make sure you check it out, and please make sure you keep tabs on Dreamshade going forward, because they're going to have more coming out for you in 2021. And when live shows return, make sure you get to go see them play live, because that's one thing I want to do. So on that note, that's going to be for me today, guys. Thank you for watching and listening to the Chord Progression Podcast. But Mr. T rocks where rock and metal thrive. My name is Kevin, and you guys know how I end every single one. Up from the big, healthy, and hearty. See you. Yeah.